There's only one legal way to rob a government. No more math than they do. 1729, Paris. The French government is running a national lottery to pay off crushing debts. Thousands of people buying tickets, dreaming of wealth, funding the state to one desperate hope at a time. Then a philosopher named Voltaire notices something, a flaw in the system, a mathematical error so obvious that anyone with basic arithmetic could exploit it. Except nobody's checking the math. They're too busy dreaming. Voltaire doesn't buy a ticket. He buys all the tickets, every single one. He forms a syndicate with mathematician Charles-Marie de La Condamine. They calculate the exact numbers, and they systematically drain the French treasury through legal lottery purchases. The cost of buying every ticket, less than the guaranteed payout, positive expected value. A sure thing. Not gambling, just math. The government realizes what's happening. They're furious. They investigate. They threaten. But there's nothing illegal about buying lottery tickets, even if you buy all of them. Even if you're exploiting a design flaw, even if you're making the government look like idiots. Voltaire walks away with a fortune, uses that money to buy his independence, funds his writing, becomes one of the Enlightenment's most influential voices, all financed by government stupidity and superior mathematics. This isn't a story about gambling. This is a story about asymmetric information, about how the house always wins unless you know something they don't, about how lotteries aren't games of chance designed for winners. They're voluntary taxes designed for losers. And 300 years later, you're still buying tickets. They just look different now. They're called meme stocks, leveraged options, zero-day expiry contracts, crypto moonshots. Same mechanism, same mathematics, same outcome. You're not Voltaire. You're the peasant who bought one ticket and lost. And the house is still winning. Let's rewind and understand why lotteries exist in the first place. Because they weren't invented for entertainment. They were invented for desperation. France, early 1700s. The country is financially destroyed. Not struggling, not in debt. Completely, catastrophically bankrupt. And it's almost entirely the fault of one man, John Law. Law was a Scottish mathematician and gambler who convinced the French government to let him run their economy. He created a central bank, issued paper currency, promoted a massive investment scheme tied to Louisiana Territory called the Mississippi Company. It was the first modern economic bubble. Stock prices soared to insane levels based on nothing but speculation and hype. Everyone bought in, aristocrats, merchants, common people selling everything to buy shares. The entire French economy became a casino bet on undeveloped American swampland. Then reality hit. The Mississippi Company couldn't deliver the promised returns. Confidence collapsed. Stock prices crashed. The paper currency became worthless. Fortunes evaporated overnight. The French economy imploded so completely it wouldn't fully recover for decades. This is the context Voltaire was operating in. France desperately needed money. The treasury was empty. The population was broke and angry. Traditional taxation was impossible because people were already rioting over economic conditions. So the government invented a new solution, the lottery. Not called a tax, called opportunity, not forced extraction, voluntary participation. Buy a ticket, maybe win a fortune, probably lose a few coins, but it's your choice, your hope, your dream. Brilliant political economics. You can't raise taxes after an economic collapse without triggering a revolution, but you can sell lottery tickets because people will pay for hope even when they have nothing left. The lottery was never about giving people a chance to win. It was about finding a politically acceptable way to extract money from a broke population. A voluntary tax on mathematical illiteracy disguised as entertainment. And it worked. People bought tickets, dreamed of escaping poverty, funded the government that had just destroyed them, all while believing they were playing a game instead of paying a tax. This is the origin. This is why lotteries exist. Not to create winners, to create revenue from people who can't afford it, who don't understand the math, who are buying hope because they have nothing else to buy. Governments discovered something profound. You don't need to force people to give you money if you can make them want to give you money. Just attach it to a dream. Make the odds invisible, market the rare winners, and collect from millions of losers who think they might be next. Voltaire understood this. He saw through the illusion. He realized the game wasn't about hope. It was about mathematics. And if you run the numbers instead of chasing the dream, you can beat the system. So how did Voltaire actually do it? How did he turn a lottery designed to extract money from fools into a machine that printed money for geniuses? The French lottery worked like this. You could buy bonds that also entered you into periodic drawings for large prizes. The bonds had a face value. They paid interest. But they also gave you lottery entries based on the bond's value. Here's where the government made their mistake. They calculated the prizes based on the bond's face value. But the bonds were trading at steep discounts because of the economic crisis. You could buy a bond with face value of 1,000 livres for maybe 200 livres on the secondary market. Your lottery entry was based on the 1,000 livre face value, but your cost was 200 livres. The government hadn't adjusted the prize structure for the discount pricing. Voltaire and La Condamine did the math. If you bought enough discounted bonds to cover every possible lottery outcome, your total cost was less than the guaranteed prize pool. The expected value wasn't just positive, it was certain profit. This wasn't gambling, this was arbitrage. Exploiting a pricing inefficiency in a government system designed by people who didn't check their own math. So they formed a syndicate, pooled money from multiple investors, bought bonds systematically, covered every combination, and won. Repeatedly. Drawing after drawing. Millions of livres extracted from the French treasury through perfectly legal lottery participation. The government noticed, investigated, accused them of fraud, but there was no fraud, just superior mathematics applied to a broken system. The lottery was designed to be unbeatable for individuals buying single tickets, but nobody had considered what happens when someone buys all the tickets and the math works in their favor. Voltaire made enough money to never need patronage again. Most writers of his era depended on wealthy sponsors. Voltaire bought his independence with lottery winnings and used it to criticize the very institutions that had enriched him through incompetence. This is the lesson. Information asymmetry is everything. The government knew how the lottery worked from their perspective. They calculated revenue and prizes. But they didn't see the exploit because they didn't think like traders. They thought like bureaucrats. Voltaire thought like a trader, found the edge, exploited it ruthlessly, and walked away rich while everyone else was buying hope. The system wasn't designed to be beaten. But it was designed by people who made mistakes, and mistakes create opportunities for people who know how to calculate actual expected value instead of dreaming about jackpots. Fast forward 300 years. Has anything changed? Have people learned that lotteries are mathematically designed to extract money from participants? Absolutely not. We've just digitized the stupidity and made it faster. Modern lottery tickets are obvious. Everyone knows the odds are terrible. You're more likely to be struck by lightning than win Powerball. But people still buy tickets because the dream is worth more than the math to them. But now we have sophisticated lotteries, financial lotteries, marketed as investment opportunities, sold by platforms with sleek apps and gamified interfaces. And millions of people are buying tickets without realizing that's what they're doing. Meme stocks. Remember GameStop? AMC? The narrative was retail investors beating Wall Street at their own game, sticking it to hedge funds, democratizing finance. The reality? Most retail participants lost money. A few got lucky with timing and made fortunes, but the majority bought high, held through the crash, and watched their accounts bleed. They were buying lottery tickets, low probability of massive payout, high probability of total loss. But it didn't feel like gambling. It felt like revolution, like community, like they were part of something bigger. The casino understood this, wrapped the lottery ticket in ideology and sold it as empowerment. Crypto moonshots. Buy an unknown coin at fractions of a penny, hope it goes to $1, become a millionaire. Possible? Yes. Probable? No. Expected value? Negative for 99% of participants. But the marketing is brilliant. Stories of early Bitcoin holders who became billionaires, screenshots of six-figure gains from $100 investments. These are the lottery winners displayed prominently. The millions who lost money are invisible. Zero-day expiry options. 0DTE, you can now buy options contracts that expire within hours. Extreme leverage, massive potential returns, nearly certain losses. This is pure gambling. Faster than a slot machine, more volatile than roulette, dressed up as sophisticated trading. The platforms love it because every trade generates fees. The users love it because it's addictive. The mathematics guarantee most participants lose. Wall Street has become a casino, not metaphorically, literally. The mechanics are identical to lotteries. Low probability, high payout bets marketed to people who don't calculate expected value. Most lose. Few win big. The house collects regardless. But here's the critical difference between you and Voltaire. Voltaire found positive expected value, a guaranteed edge, a mathematical certainty. He wasn't gambling, he was extracting value from a broken system. You're buying negative expected value. Every meme stock purchase at peak hype, every lottery ticket crypto investment, every over-leveraged options bet. You're paying the house for the privilege of probably losing. Voltaire beat the system because he did the math and found an exploit. You're feeding the system because you're chasing dreams instead of calculating probabilities. The government lottery and the Wall Street casino operate on the same principle. Most people would rather dream about unlikely wealth than calculate actual expected value. So sell them dreams. Market the rare winners. Collect from the masses. Repeat forever. This isn't investment. This is the world's oldest tax, the stupidity tax. Voluntary payment for mathematical illiteracy. And it's more profitable than ever because technology made it faster, prettier, and more addictive. So what's the real lesson here? What separates Voltaire from the peasant buying lottery tickets? Information, calculation, discipline. Voltaire had information advantage. He understood the lottery's structure better than the designers. He saw the flaw because he looked for it. Most people never check the math. They accept the game as presented and hope for luck. Real wealth isn't built on luck. It's built on asymmetric information, knowing something others don't, seeing opportunities others miss, exploiting inefficiencies before they're corrected. When Voltaire found positive expected value in a system designed to have negative expected value, he didn't hesitate. He didn't buy one ticket and hope. He calculated exactly how to guarantee profit and executed systematically. That's the mindset that creates wealth. Not dreaming, not hoping, not buying tickets and praying. Calculating edge, confirming advantage, and acting decisively when the math works. The lottery, then and now, exists because most people don't do this. They play games they can't win. They chase dreams with terrible odds. They pay taxes disguised as entertainment. Governments love this. Casinos love this. Financial platforms love this. Because every lottery ticket sold, every bad bet placed, every negative expected value trade executed is revenue for the house. You're not going to beat the lottery by buying more tickets. You're not going to beat the casino by betting bigger. You're not going to beat Wall Street by trading more frequently. These systems are designed to extract money from participants. That's their function. The only way to win is to either find the exploit, like Voltaire, or refuse to play. Build wealth through production, through value creation, through accumulating assets that generate returns instead of chasing speculative moonshots. The lottery is a tax on people who can't do math. The stock market casino is a tax on people who think they're investors but are actually gambling. Crypto hype cycles are taxes on people who mistake volatility for opportunity. If you can't calculate expected value, you're buying hope. And hope is expensive when someone else is selling it to you. Voltaire bought independence with lottery winnings. Not because he got lucky, because he did the math and found certainty in a system designed to create losers. You're not going to replicate that by buying tickets. You're going to replicate it by refusing to play games with negative expected value and building wealth through methods that actually work. The house always wins, unless you're the house, or unless you're smart enough to find the one moment when the house made a mistake and exploit it before they fix it. Everything else is just buying lottery tickets with extra steps. This is Dark Money Historian. We follow the money so you can stop giving it away. Now I want to hear from you. When it comes to building wealth, what matters more? Getting lucky with a moonshot bet or consistently making mathematically sound decisions? Are you playing Voltaire's game or the peasant's game? Drop your answer in the comments. Luck or math?